rational means writing something. So anytime you have a fraction with polynomials, and polynomials are like x squared, x cubed, have x's with powers that are positive whole numbers, then you have rational expressions. And what we were talking about on the bottom of the page is something called a non-permissible value, right? You are not ever allowed to divide by 0, so sometimes x has non-permissible values. So what we're going to do in this unit is we are going to practice our skills in fractions. Can you add fractions? Can you subtract fractions? Can you simplify fractions? But now we move away from grade 7 and 8 where you just did numbers. And now we do all those same rules just with algebra. So if we are able to remember our rules with numbers, we now can apply them to algebra. And it's exactly the same ideas. It's just more complicated because you're dealing with more complicated things. So we start off, okay? We're always going to start off by factoring. Factoring is important because life is a lot easier if you're dealing with simple fractions than if you're dealing with complicated fractions. Right? For example, I'll show you something with numbers that looks complicated. All right? What's the answer? Run. No, not going quick. How about if I simplify this question for you? What is the answer to this? What? Good. Was this easier? Was this more complicated? Are they identical? Yes. But we can have something that's more complicated, and it's, 4 versus simple. So what we want to do is we want to simplify our fractions, right? Because if this was 1/2 and this was 1/2, that makes life a lot easier. But if it's more complicated, then it makes it harder. One of the ways that we simplify in algebra is factoring. Here, I saw that I could divide both top and bottom by 384, and then I get 1/2. We're going to need to do that with algebra, but in order to recognize that something's the same on the top and the bottom, we have to factor. And we do that factoring even right now when it's asking for our non-permissible values. In part A, the bottom is a difference of squares. I can factor to be x plus 3, x minus 3. And then I can see right away that my non-permissible values, x can't equal -3, and x can't equal +3. For part B, if I factor the bottom, I get x and x. To get 16 would be 4 and 4. Both would be negative to get +16, and both would need to be negative so that you get -8. Every time you factor, your brain should quickly multiply it out after you factor. If you're doing that every single time as a check, that'll do two things. One, it'll make sure that you've got it right, and two, you will get better at factoring if you're always checking after you factor. So, the only non-permissible value here is that x can't equal 4, because 4 would make either the factors equal to 0. So I'll get you to write down these questions for now, but we're gonna do question 2 right away. So circle questions 4, 5, and 8 in your homework.